Jens Spahn, a prominent figure in Chancellor Friedrich Merz's Christian Democratic Union, has resigned his role as parliamentary group leader of the governing Conservative bloc. The move comes in the wake of intense criticism over the use by Spahn and his husband of a surrogate mother in the United States to have a child. Surrogacy is banned in Germany and is opposed by Spahn's centre-right CDU. As recently as February this year, the party passed a resolution affirming its opposition to the practice. In his resignation letter, Spahn acknowledged the conflict between his choice and his position among Germany's conservative leadership. All right, well, joining me here in the studio is DW political correspondent Julia Saudelli. Great to have you here to break this story down. So Jens Spahn says his decision to become a father through surrogacy became incompatible with his political office. So could you help us understand then why this issue became so difficult for him to separate from his role as a senior CDU politician?
Well, first of all, this news only emerged after the baby had been born and after Jens Spahn's husband posted about the arrival of this baby on social media. And that's when the whole debate started unraveling. And at that point, there had been no announcement or no preparation from Spahn on how to really deal with the fact that this baby was born through surrogacy. Now, the big issue is that one, surrogacy per se is not legal in Germany, and Spahn went through the process in the United States, and there is, let's say, it's a pretty well-known loophole, we can say, on how parents can become so through surrogacy abroad. The children, when they do have a genetic connection to one of the two parents then are recognized as their children in Germany, but the baseline is that surrogacy is illegal in Germany. The second issue is that his own party is against surrogacy. They have, as you said, reinstated recently in a motion at the party's Congress that they are against surrogacy, and this is something that obviously has caused what many of the politicians that have criticized him now from his party, but also from the opposition, is that his credibility has come into question.
So, considering what you've just said there about the fact it was recently discussed within his own party, how significant then is that timing in understanding the pressure that ultimately led to this resignation?
What I think is significant is that we've also seen comments on surrogacy coming from Spahn himself already over 10 years ago. For example, in 2015, he said, and I'm going to read to make sure I get this right, but he wrote that as a gay man and a Christian, I personally find it very difficult to come to terms with the idea of a rented womb. So he himself had said that he was against this. And now what everyone is accusing him of is going against what he had said in the past, but also what his party stands for, and sort of making an exception for himself. And this is what really has caused a lot of criticism against him.
Right, so there's a lot of essentially pressure then and sort of anger that the resignation is it then about surrogacy itself, or is it more about whether politicians are expected to live by the positions that parties advocate?
It seems to be a lot about, his principles and his credibility and what he stands for as a politician, especially a politician that has had such a clear stance on this specific topic. But obviously, the issue of surrogacy is quite controversial in Germany. It's been debated a lot, also in recent years. Surrogacy has been made illegal. It's illegal since a law was passed in 1989, so it's been a long time. And some parties have called for the law to be revised, given how much things have changed in German society, but just in general in the world since then. And the previous government had actually set up a commission to look into whether it would be possible to actually make surrogacy legal under certain circumstances. And the commission had concluded that, yes, if it would be very strictly regulated in a non-profit way, it could possibly become legal in Germany. The previous government didn't manage to shore up enough support for that to happen. But it's an ongoing debate, and the topic does keep coming up.
Tell us, what does this resignation then now mean for Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor, given that Jens Spahn was a senior CDU figure?
Well, there's always been quite a lot of debate around Jens Spahn. He is a prominent figure in the party, but also in part controversial. When he was health minister during the COVID pandemic, he was criticized for procurement of anti-COVID masks, very expensive procurement. He was criticized in other aspects. So I think certainly some people in the party might be happy to see him going, but he was certainly a prominent figure, so it's going to make waves.
Sounds like it. Great to get that breakdown and that bit of analysis and understanding. Julia, DW political correspondent, Julia Saudeli.